We are 10 days away from October 1st, which means the end of the regular season, 162 game season for Major League Baseball. And that's really exciting stuff. I think it's the perfect ending in the October 1st, the end of the regular season. You get into October baseball, long marathon that began all the way in spring training, right? The middle of February all the way to the beginning of October, the long marathon concludes. I want to talk about today which teams I want to see match up with the wildcard rounds as well as the division series rounds. Talk about the matchups, why I think they would be fun or intriguing. Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to talk about the wildcard rounds first. We're going to start in the National League, okay? We're start in the National League. The Dodgers and the Braves will have the bye seeds in the National League. The Braves will be the 1 seed. The Dodgers will be the 2 seed, presumably speaking. I think that's how it's going to end up. Honestly, end up that way. So let's go that route. That means the Brewers, who are the third best division winner, will be playing the wild card round. At my preferred preference, they would be hosting the Chicago Cubs. Brewers and get the Cubs in the wild card round. I mean, sign me up for that. Definitely sign me up for that. I think others would also sign up for that as well. These two teams don't really like each other. Of course, within like 90-mile radius of each other. There'd be some bad blood baseball, I believe, between the Brewers and Cubs. The Cubs, young up-and-coming team that really nobody saw as a playoff team this year, and they just kind of blossomed. And of course, the Brewers, who will emerge as the division winner in the Central, have had a good year, kind of slept on. I want to call it that way. And so I think the Brewers and the Cubs, a fantastic series. The other matchup I want to see take place in the National League wildcard round would be the Philadelphia Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm a huge fan of this Diamondbacks team, this young up-and-coming team as well. A lot more of a brighter future. I think a lot more sustainable pieces with the Diamondbacks. Young guys like Corbin Carroll, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. I like a lot of these young guys. Ketel Marte has been there forever. Christian Walker. So I really like a lot of the Diamondbacks team. And to see them back in the postseason again, I think that'd be great. And they would be the 5 seed. They'd be the 5 seed heading into Citizens Bank Park, take on the Phillies team that is going to be looked at as one of the top teams, to make the World Series again. Take out the Braves or the Dodgers. They're going to be that sexy pick to do so. But don't count out the D-backs. Like, they could go in Philly and they could take that series in 3 games. They've been playing some really good baseball, beating the teams they have to beat. So do not sleep on the D-backs. But I think the Phillies and the Diamondbacks should be a really intriguing series. We're going to go back out to the AL now and talk about the AL wildcard rounds. So the American League is going to run through Baltimore. Who saw that coming at the beginning of the year? Certainly not me. The American League is going to run through Camden Yards. They're going to have the 1st seed, be the winner of the West, presumably 2nd seed. The Twins, 2 or 3 games behind. They're not far behind, but in this scenario, I have them as the 3rd best division winner. I have the Astros winning the West, as I talked about a couple of weeks ago. I still think the Astros will win the American League West. We shall see if that happens, but my preferred choice of the Astros and the Orioles are the bye seeds. You got the Minnesota Twins winning the Central, and they will be taking on the Texas Rangers, the 3rd wild card seed. The Texas Rangers break that postseason drought. They finally get in as a 6th seed, and the Minnesota Twins, who, whether it's a secret or not a secret, they have not won a playoff game in like 20 years. So they've been, in the playoffs multiple times, but they have never won a game in those said playoffs for the last 20 years. I'm not sure how many times they've made the postseason. They have not won a game in the postseason. It's time for Minnesota to do something here, at least win a game. I think they could win at least 1 game against this Rangers team. And the reason I picked this series because I want to see the Rangers in the playoffs. And the Twins and Rangers have a little bit of an interesting series. Like, you'd think on paper the Rangers are the better team. But the Twins have played the Rangers really well this year, so this would be a pretty intriguing matchup. And in the 4-5 matchup, we would have the Tampa Bay Rays as the 4 seed hosting the Toronto Blue Jays. So AL East division rivals here. They met up not too long ago. I think it was in 2020. The Rays got the best of them that time. Rays and Jays are no strangers to each other in the playoffs. All 3 games would be played at Tropicana Field, and so this series would be intriguing. Like, on paper, the Jays have a great lineup, some good pitching, the front of the rotation. The Rays, just quietly going about their business. They seem to do it every single year, but the Rays haven't won a round since 2020. All teams here are dying to win some rounds, so all 4 teams are dying to win a round. Very interesting matchups. The Rays and Jays, keep an eye on that series for sure. I'm going to keep it in the American League, and so we're going to talk about the DS and which matchups I want to see. I'm going to end it here. I'm not going to talk about the championship series or the World Series. I'll save that for a later date. But the matchups that I want to see in the division series, starting the American League, like I said, I want to win out of that Texas-Minnesota series. I definitely want the Rangers to win that. I apologize to Minnesota fans, but I definitely want to see the Battle of Texas. the Lone Star Series, the Rangers and Astros. I think that'd be prime time TV. Just imagine if the Rangers could knock off the Astros. Just saying. I'm not saying they will, but that would be either way. Rangers, Astros, yeah, sign me up for that. Of course, we got the Rays and Jays taking on the Orioles. You know, it's going to be another division series. Give me the Blue Jays. Give me the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays garner a little bit more interest. Toronto and Baltimore, I think, would be a little bit more interesting than Tampa Bay and Baltimore, but I wouldn't be mad if it's the Rays or the Orioles. They play each other well. They've been fighting for the division. I would not be mad either way, but I think the Blue Jays and Orioles would be a fun series. Going back to the National League, saving the best for last. Cubs and Brewers series. The winner plays the Los Angeles Dodgers. So who do I want the Dodgers to face? I personally think they match up better with the Brewers. Now you can say they match up better with the Cubs, but they just seem to have the Brewers number, and like that's something we said about the Padres. But I think they would match up better with the Brewers. All that aside, I could be wrong, but either way, I think the best matchup for the Dodgers is the Brewers. But I want to see them play the Cubs. If honestly I'm saying like who do I want to see as a outside fan, no bias, I would like to see the Cubs and the Dodgers play. The Dodgers have played the Cubs and the Brewers of recent memory here, especially the Cubs. The Dodgers and Cubs have quite a bit of history playing in the playoffs. So you know, Dodgers Stadium, Wrigley Field, Dodgers Cubs doesn't get better than that. So I think Dodgers Cubs would be some juicy storylines, to say the least. Finally, ending it with the Phillies and D-backs. Who do I want to see win that series? I'm going to go Phillies. I would love to see the D-backs win and pull off the upset, you know, take on the Braves. But I think the Phillies and Braves would just be two juggernauts going at it. Of course, the Phillies knocked out Atlanta last year. Can they do it again? Or will the Braves get their revenge? You know, keep marching towards the World Series run that they are kind of primed for. So I think Phillies and Braves would be a absolute classic of a series. I think that'd be my pick. That being said, y'all, I'm going to sign off on this video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on which playoff matchups you want to see. That being said, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys again next time. Later.